Welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are smashing the targets. It's like 100 every day. 3,300 is the next target. I'm so grateful for the support, but I bring bad news. I'm sure you've seen it already, but if you haven't, on Declan Rice, David Ornstein dropped a bomber that we did not want this morning. Manchester City expected to submit an offer to West Ham today for Declan Rice. Man City have serious interest in recruiting the 24-year-old England midfielder, and it is anticipated that a formal bid will be lodged soon to rival Arsenal for the signing. That was then immediately followed up by pretty much every journalist under the sun reporting the same thing, which does give me a bit of hope that it was West Ham putting it out there. Man City wouldn't go to all of these journalists and say, look, we're going to bid. So I do think it's West Ham putting it out there, but for certain, the interest from Man City is there. Ex-West Ham employee who is very good from the West Ham side then said, so basically he was misquoted as saying that the bid was 95 plus 15. Remember, our bid was 75 plus 15. But he corrected that. He said, it's what I've read and it's what's been reported elsewhere, which is why I said it's rumoured. I then did an update explaining I don't know what the actual offer is until it's in. This is the problem with people sharing it everywhere. And DiMarzio then said, Man City currently want to offer 75 million in 2 instalments plus 15 million in very achievable add-ons, which are thought to be realistically achievable. So basically, DiMarzio was saying that Man City are bidding the same amount as Arsenal, but that the terms and the structure of that bid are far better than Arsenal's, as in it's just 2 instalments, it's faster, and presumably the add-ons are far more achievable because they think that Man City are far more likely to win the Premier League or the Champions League or whatever those add-ons are based on. The only sort of positive spin came from John Cross in the Mirror. He said, I think Arsenal and West Ham are going through a process now. I do think Declan Rice's preferred option is that's set in his head is going to Arsenal, and he's almost made up his mind. So that's the only real positive spin that we've had on it. Ian Wright replied to someone and said, look, if Man City weren't interested in him, then that's a bad sign for top players that you're spending this sort of money on. There should be interest from all of the big clubs. But it's not good. It isn't good. And look, to an extent, Arsenal can only do so much. Financially, we can only do so much. We appear to abide by FFP rules. Man City don't. We know they don't. And it does get to the point where I wonder why we abide by them. But we do continue to. And if I'm honest, I'm still confident that Rice is going to join Arsenal. And one of the things that, look, you can take a glass half full approach to this, right? With the Kai Havertz news yesterday, you can take a glass half full approach, which is, would we have spent and agreed to 65 million for Kai Havertz yesterday if we thought we were going to need more money for Declan Rice? And the answer is no, which makes me think we haven't maxed out the maximum amount we can bid for Declan Rice yet, that there is still further we can go, because if there wasn't, and Declan Rice is the massive priority and Kai Havertz isn't, then we would have held back on finishing Kai Havertz in case we needed some of that money, and instead of spending 65 million on Havertz, you end up spending 45 million on someone else because you had to use that money for Rice. So that is giving me a bit of optimism that we're not out of the game here yet, and that we will match whatever Man City offer. And if that's the case, hopefully Declan Rice would join us, as it continues to be reported that we are his favoured option. The thing that's giving me less positivity is that Fabrizio consistently reported that Declan Rice, or that Man City rather, would only bid for Declan Rice if Declan Rice was willing to go to Man City. They wouldn't bother putting in a bid if Rice had made it clear that he wasn't going to go there. So the fact that they're going to put in a bid suggests that Declan Rice has effectively not said yes he wants to join Man City, but at least said he'll listen to offers and he could see it happening. So that's the negative side of it. And really, we've just got to wait and see. It sounds like, from lots of people, Sky Sports, both teams are going to make a bid today. Obviously, it will be Man City's first bid, it will be our third bid, and if anything happens, I will, of course, update you. So moving on to Kai Havertz, obviously we mentioned him then. I didn't upload a video yesterday talking about it specifically, but we had the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano, and we've now got a bit more. Kaya Kainak said that he understands that Kai Havertz's medical will take place over the weekend. It's likely to be overseas due to the player's schedule. If all goes according to plan, the announcement is expected early next week. And Fabrizio said Arsenal plan is confirmed for Kai Havertz, medical later this week, formal contract already sent and being checked, then it will be official. £65 million fee with add-ons confirmed. Also a long-term deal for Havertz, who's set to become the Gunners' first signing of the summer. So, Kai Havertz is done. And I'm happy with it. I do think he's going to be an 8. I made a tweet about this earlier. I'm going to make a full video about where I see Havertz fitting in, but effectively I do see him as the 8, which means I think that Rice must be coming in as the 6 now. And this follows on from news about Thomas Partey. So this is new news on Thomas Partey. Obviously, we know that Arsenal are open to offers. Fabrizio said Juventus have also asked for info on Thomas Partey after Saudi clubs are also approaching the midfielder. Saudi clubs are prepared to bid €40 million in 3 instalments, but nothing agreed yet on the player side. Juventus are informed, waiting on Rabiot's future too. Di Marzio then reported, Partey ready to give the go-ahead to Juventus move. Club will negotiate €18 to €20 million deal with Arsenal. That is disgraceful. And if that happens, then we really need to start having words with the board. Because letting Partey go for less than €20 million is an absolute scandal. He was, besides Rory, for 8 months of last season, the best holding midfielder in the Premier League. He's not that old. To let him go for less than 20 million would be outrageous. Just plain and simply outrageous. And if you've got Saudi there, potentially willing to offer €40 million, I mean, you've got to convince Thomas Partey to go to Saudi Arabia. But other than that, I mean, it's just... We're so bad at selling players. It really does feel that way. And I will be fuming if he goes to Juventus for 20 million euros or less. I will be absolutely fuming with it. When you look at the money that Chelsea are getting, and obviously we're part of that with the 65 million for Kai Havertz, but look at the money they're getting for Koulibaly, who's older than Partey and has had an absolute stinker of a season. I mean, it's just, we cannot let him go for 20 million or less. I really don't think we can, and I'll be fuming if it happens. And look, we need this money. One of the reasons that we can't necessarily go absolutely crazy for Declan Rice is that we are, to a certain extent, still tied by FFP. For a long time, we've spent quite a lot of money in the last few years. We've not made money back on player sales, and you have to do that. And, we haven't had any outgoings yet so far this summer. And I just feel like we look like mugs if you let Thomas Partey go for less than 20 million. And then, how can you charge more than that sort of money for other players at the club? It starts becoming very difficult. So it's something we have to work on. And look, we may get to the end of this transfer window and look back and say wide-scale mistakes were made. It might all be in hand still. They might be sat there, Eddie might be sat there, cigar in hand, with everything in his control. But historically, we've not really seen that. Mudryk, Caicedo, players like Vlahovic before that. And this whole thing of Declan Rice, being dead set on Arsenal and he's only going to join Arsenal and all of that stuff, Mudryk was the same. Caicedo was the same, and we didn't get the deals done because ultimately you still have to pay what West Ham want. Now, I do think West Ham we could have gone in with well over 100 million, and I think West Ham would still have waited to see if Man City would make an offer. I think they have been desperate for a bidding war right from the very start. And now they've got what they wanted. And to be honest, of all of the things that are annoying me about the situation, the fact that West Ham are getting what they want is one of the most annoying things of it. But we just have to play ball. He is the number one target. And Arteta will be absolutely furious if we don't get this done. So I am still confident. I'm nowhere near as confident as I was a couple of days ago. Time will tell, and that's all there is to it. But look, if you've enjoyed the video, please do subscribe. Smash a like on it as well. That massively helps me out. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. And other than that, enjoy your evening. Cheers.